when the body refuses to ask permission. There is a kind of discipline that unsettles people. Not loud. Not impressive. Just steady. The kind that shows up before thought has finished waking. Most people believe discipline begins in the mind. A decision. A promise. A surge of resolve. That belief is why their routines decay quietly, without drama. You can see it in the early mornings. An alarm cuts through sleep. Fingers hesitate on the phone. The room is cold. The body waits for approval. Thoughts gather excuses like loose change. No one is watching. No one will know. They begin strong, like everyone else. Shoes by the door. Plans written cleanly. Then the days blur. The body stiffens. The mind starts negotiating. Not because they are weak, but because they placed command in the wrong place. In old training halls, no one asked how they felt. Knees folded onto hard floors regardless of mood. Breath moved before intention. The body learned the path long before the mind could argue it. Warriors and monks understood something that modern discipline avoids. If the body waits for the mind, action becomes optional. If the body moves first, the mind is dragged into alignment. Watch someone who has crossed that line. They stand when it is time to stand. Train when it is time to train. Others joke about their rigidity. Invitations stop coming. The body has already decided, and that makes people uneasy. Before you continue, write the habit you keep renegotiating with yourself. If you can't name it, that hesitation is already an answer. The morning where negotiation begins. The alarm rings. Not loudly. Just enough to intrude. Your eyes stay closed. The room holds its breath. Cold air rests on your skin. The body knows what comes next, but it waits. You lie there while the mind assembles its case. Muscles feel thick. Joints resist. A dull weight sits behind the eyes. The phone warms your palm as if offering an alternative. No one is watching. No consequence announces itself. This is where most days quietly break. The negotiation always sounds reasonable. 5 more minutes. Start tomorrow. You trained yesterday. The body listens, motionless, as the mind bargains on its behalf. By the time you stand, the moment has already passed, and something has learned it can delay you. In training halls that never cared about your comfort, this pause did not exist. Feet touched the floor before thought completed its sentence. Hands wrapped the sword handle the same way every time. The floor was cold. Knees met it anyway. No discussion. No internal vote. Watch what happens when the body moves first. You stand while the mind is still forming words. Blood shifts. Breath deepens. The spine aligns without ceremony. The complaint arrives late, like an excuse told after the fact. The body has already crossed the room. This is not force. It doesn't feel dramatic. It feels ordinary, almost disappointing. Shirt pulled on with stiff fingers. Shoes tied without pause. Outside, the air bites the lungs. Someone across the street glances at you, puzzled at the hour. You keep moving. Their confusion is not addressed. Most people lose here, not because they refuse discipline, but because they grant the mind authority it hasn't earned. The mind wants comfort first, certainty first, agreement first. The body only needs a signal. When the signal is delayed, habit decays. When the signal is immediate, habit thickens. The body begins to expect movement at a certain hour. On days you hesitate, something feels off. A low irritation follows you. Discipline has started to invert. Others notice before you do. Friends joke that you are rigid. They stop asking if you're free in the mornings. Your schedule becomes predictable, and that predictability unsettles them. You didn't announce a change. You just stopped negotiating. The shift is subtle. The body steps forward. The mind is forced to catch up. Each morning, the gap between action and thought narrows. Soon, Hesitation feels stranger than movement. But the mind does not surrender easily. Tomorrow, it will return with better arguments, sharper logic, kinder excuses. It always does, waiting to see who moves first. The body learns faster than thought. In the early weeks, nothing feels heroic. Movement is clumsy. Breath rasps in the chest. The floor feels harder than expected. You repeat the same action while the body protests with stiffness and dull aches. Someone nearby watches, curious, then looks away when you don't explain yourself. The body is learning a route. Not a concept. A path. Hands reach for the same object without scanning the room. Feet find the same position on the mat. Skin reacts to the morning before the mind decides what the morning means. The mind lags behind, irritated. It wants context, purpose, permission. It whispers while you move. This is unnecessary. This could wait. This isn't efficient. The body keeps going, pulse steadying, joints warming, breath counting itself back. Repetition without drama changes the order of command. The belt is tied the same way each time. Shoes are placed by the door at night without ceremony. Knees fold down. Spine straightens. No one applauds. No one records it. That absence is the point. After enough mornings, the body begins to expect the sequence. On days you hesitate, a pressure builds behind the eyes. Shoulders feel wrong, as if something unfinished is tugging at them. Sitting still becomes louder than moving. The body is no longer waiting for instruction. This is where social friction sharpens. People notice your predictability. They joke that you're obsessive. Too serious. Invitations come with disclaimers, then stop arriving altogether. Your routine has made a decision they didn't ask for. The body doesn't argue with them. It moves when it's time to move. Cold air fills the lungs. Heat rises under the skin. The same passerby sees you again, earlier than before, and shakes their head. You don't correct their assumptions. The mind adapts slowly, resentfully. It stops trying to lead and starts trying to explain. It takes credit after the fact. You notice this without correcting it, the way you notice weather. The body has already set the tone. What changes first is not performance, but silence. Fewer internal debates. Less narrative around effort. Action arrives before commentary, and commentary arrives thinner each day. The body has learned what the mind kept delaying. But this learning is fragile. It survives only if the order remains intact. The moment you ask the mind to approve movement again, it will. And it will take its time, where thought quietly undermines consistency. The failure never announces itself. It arrives as a small adjustment. A slight delay. A reasonable exception. The body pauses, waiting for confirmation it didn't need yesterday. You feel it in the muscles first. They cool while you think. The warmth drains. The stiffness returns. Breath shortens as the chest tightens around unfinished movement. The body notices the interruption before the mind admits it. The mind is convincing here. It frames itself as responsible, not resistant. It brings context. Schedules. Fatigue. Long-term thinking. It speaks softly, like an ally, while loosening the grip on the routine. Nothing feels broken yet. In places where discipline survived centuries, this moment was guarded closely. When the bell rang, bodies stood. Not because they agreed, but because agreement was irrelevant. Robes brushed cold legs. Feet met stone floors. Those who hesitated felt the gap immediately, not as guilt, but as disorder. You can sense that disorder when you let thought lead. The sequence blurs. Hands fumble where they were precise. The body feels heavier, as if carrying an argument it never asked for. Movement becomes optional again. Others notice the shift faster than you expect. Someone comments that you seem tired lately. Another suggests skipping a day. They say it casually, smiling, as if offering relief. Your hesitation gives them permission. This is where consistency collapses for most people. Not in exhaustion, not in crisis, but in courtesy toward their own thoughts. When the body moved first, days stacked cleanly. Even imperfect days held their shape. A short session still happened. A slower pace still counted. The chain stayed intact, and the body remembered it. When thought takes command, gaps appear. A day off becomes two. The body loses its expectation and waits again. You feel it as restlessness that doesn't resolve with rest. Something has gone missing, but the mind refuses to name it. The body is simpler than that. It doesn't negotiate long-term vision. It recognizes patterns. It responds to signals repeated without debate. Remove the signal, and it returns to stillness. What's dangerous is how normal this feels. Nothing dramatic breaks. You still consider yourself disciplined. You still plan to return tomorrow. The body, meanwhile, has learned a different lesson. Tomorrow, it will wait a fraction longer. The mind will notice and speak sooner. The balance will tilt without resistance. And you will wonder when discipline became something you had to convince yourself to do, when choice is quietly removed. There is a moment when discipline stops feeling like effort and starts feeling like layout. Not strength. Not resolve. Arrangement. The night before, shoes are placed by the door. Clothes folded the same way. The floor is cool under bare feet as you pass through the room without turning on the light. Your hands move ahead of your thoughts, as if following marks only the body can see. This is where choice disappears. Not through willpower, but through absence. There is nothing to decide because the path has already been cleared. The body recognizes the sequence and steps into it without pause. In old dojos, this was intentional. Training times did not bend. Weather did not vote. When rain fell, practice moved inside without comment. When injury appeared, movement slowed but did not stop. The body stayed in the chain. You feel the difference immediately. No internal debate warms up. Breath deepens on schedule. Muscles accept the load they were prepared for. The mind arrives late, slightly annoyed that it wasn't consulted. This arrangement unsettles people who rely on mood. They ask how you stay consistent. You don't answer, because there is nothing to explain. You simply arrive when it's time. The explanation would only invite negotiation back into the room. Choice is fragile. It sounds noble, but it decays under pressure. Identity holds longer. When movement is tied to who you are, not what you feel, hesitation has nowhere to sit. You notice it on days when something breaks the pattern. A late night. A disrupted schedule. The body searches for the next available slot without complaint. Not perfect. Just immediate. Continuity is preserved, and the chain doesn't snap. Others struggle here. They miss once and wait for the ideal return. The body cools. The signal fades. They tell themselves they're being patient. What they're really doing is relearning how to hesitate. Your body doesn't wait for ideal conditions. It looks for the next opening and steps through. The air feels different at that hour. Someone you know sees you training at an odd time and raises an eyebrow. You don't justify it. Removing choice doesn't make you rigid. It makes you available. Available to move when it's time. Available to adjust without collapse. Available to continue when others reset. But this only works if the order is protected. The moment you reintroduce discussion, the mind will expand into it. It always does. And the body, patient as ever, will wait to be told what it already knew. Continuity survives where perfection breaks. The body does not understand ideals. It understands rhythm. On days when strength is high, movement feels clean. Breath flows. Limbs respond. The floor feels firm instead of hostile. Someone watching assumes this is what discipline looks like. But the body is shaped more by the days no one admires. The mornings when joints ache and balance feels slightly off. When heat sits behind the eyes and the legs carry a dull weight, the body still moves, not fully, not impressively, but enough. In old practice halls, this distinction mattered. An injured foot meant slower steps, not absence. A fever meant shorter sitting, not none. The body stayed in contact with the pattern. That contact mattered more than intensity. Modern minds reject this. They want clean records, perfect streaks. When perfection breaks, they stop entirely. The body cools. The rhythm collapses. Restarting later feels heavier than continuing imperfectly ever did. Watch what happens when continuity is protected instead. On a weekday, the body performs the opening movements only. Hands still reach for the same places. The mat still feels rough against the knees. Someone nearby notices you leaving early and looks confused. You don't explain. The explanation would frame the day as failure. The body doesn't agree. It recognizes the signal was sent and received. The chain remains unbroken. This quiet consistency changes how effort feels. Pressure eases because nothing is at stake. There is no performance to defend. Only contact to maintain. The body relaxes into this simplicity. Social friction sharpens here. People comment that you're too rigid, even when you adjust. They expect discipline to be dramatic or visible. Your version looks almost careless to them. Short sessions. Reduced pace. No announcements. What they don't see is what the body remembers. The expectation remains. At the usual hour, restlessness rises if you delay. Shoulders tense as if reminding you of something unfinished. Movement resolves it immediately. This is where discipline stops feeling fragile. It no longer depends on good days. Bad days no longer threaten it. The body knows it will move, even briefly, even poorly. That knowledge settles deeper than confidence. Perfection creates gaps. Continuity fills them quietly. The body trusts what repeats, not what impresses. And once that trust forms, breaking it feels stranger than keeping it. But this trust is conditional. It survives only if you honor the smallest version of the action. The moment you demand excellence before movement, the old negotiations return. The body will wait, wondering why rhythm suddenly requires permission. Pre-decided responses replace willpower. The moment pressure arrives, most people think. That pause is where everything slips. Rain hits the window harder than expected. The air feels heavier. The body slows near the door, waiting to see what the mind will decide. This is where routines usually fracture. In places where discipline endured, responses were set in advance. When rain fell, training moved indoors. When exhaustion surfaced, intensity dropped. When time collapsed, the next available slot was taken without comment. No discussion occurred at the moment of stress. You feel the difference when responses are already chosen. The body does not tense. Breath stays even. Hands adjust without searching for approval. The mind notices late and has nothing useful to add. Without this, pressure invites negotiation. The mind starts listing variables. Weather, mood, schedule, meaning. The body stands idle, cooling, while arguments stack neatly on top of each other. Movement becomes conditional again. With pre-decided responses, conditions lose their power. A late night doesn't cancel movement, it shortens it. An injury doesn't stop training, it redirects it. A missed session doesn't spiral into guilt, it triggers immediate replacement. The body stays in motion, even when circumstances shift. Others don't understand this flexibility. They confuse it with obsession. They see you adjust without emotion and assume rigidity. Someone comments that you never rest properly. You don't explain the difference between rest and disappearance. The body prefers clarity. When X happens, Y follows. No debate. No evaluation. The signal stays clean, and the body responds with less resistance each time. Stress no longer scrambles the order. This is where willpower quietly exits the picture. You don't feel strong. You don't feel driven. You feel occupied. The body is already busy responding to the world as planned. Watch how others behave under disruption. They pause. They reassess. They promise themselves they'll return when things settle. The body learns to associate disruption with stillness. Restarting later feels heavier each time. Your body learns something else. Disruption simply changes the shape of movement, not its existence. Cold air still enters the lungs. Muscles still contract, even if lightly. The pattern remains intact. Social discomfort increases here. People expect visible struggle. Your calm adjustments deny them that narrative. They stop offering advice when it goes unused. The routine stands on its own. But this only works if responses are truly pre-decided. The moment you improvise under pressure, the mind reclaims territory. It will suggest better timing, better conditions, better moods. The body will pause again, waiting to be convinced. And once waiting returns, the old hierarchy quietly reasserts itself, the moment the body takes command. It happens quietly. Not as a breakthrough. Not as confidence. As an absence. You wake and stand without checking how you feel. Feet touch the floor. Cold runs up the calves. The room is still dark, and the body is already moving. Thought arrives halfway through the first motion, late and unnecessary. The body has learned the hour. It expects the sequence the way lungs expect air. When you delay, a low agitation rises under the skin. Not guilt. Not fear. Disorder. You notice it on days you try to rest longer. The bed feels wrong. The shoulders tighten as if holding unfinished work. Getting up resolves it immediately. The body exhales before the mind understands why. This is the inversion. The body no longer asks. The mind no longer leads. Action precedes opinion, and opinion thins as it follows. Others feel this shift before you name it. They hesitate before inviting you out late. They joke that you're predictable now. Someone asks if you ever relax. You don't answer, because the question misunderstands the order. Relaxation comes after movement, not before. The body settles once it has honored the pattern. Pulse slows. Breath evens. Stillness becomes available only after action is complete. The mind enjoys the result and claims it as intention. Social friction sharpens here. Your consistency reflects their negotiations back at them. They offer exceptions. You decline without explanation. They laugh it off, then stop offering. The routine stands where conversation used to be. This is not discipline as effort. It is discipline as gravity. The body falls into motion because that is where it belongs. Removing that motion would require force. Continuing requires nothing. You see it in small details. Hands reach for the same tools without scanning. Breath adjusts before discomfort registers. The body begins tasks while the mind is still narrating yesterday. The gap widens, then disappears. What's unsettling is how ordinary it feels. No pride. No struggle. Just movement occurring at its appointed time. The mind adapts by staying quiet or arriving late. Either way, it no longer holds the gate. This is where most people mistake you for disciplined. They think you are strong. They think you are strict. They don't see that strength is no longer required. The body is simply obeying what it has become. And this state is fragile in one way only. If you ask permission again, it dissolves. If you let thought vote on movement, the old hierarchy returns. The body will wait, patient, obedient, and silent. Waiting is what it does when command is unclear. As long as movement stays first, the order holds. The mind follows. The day unfolds without debate. And discipline stops being something you practice, because it is already moving you, when discipline becomes what you are. Discipline was never meant to be negotiated daily. That idea keeps people busy and exhausted. What endures is quieter than that. When the body moves first, something settles. Not motivation. Not confidence. Order. The unshakable person is not the strongest one in the room. It is the one who no longer asks permission to act. Movement happens. Thought follows. And because the order is correct, friction fades. This is why discipline, once real, feels almost invisible. There is no inner speech to overcome. No heroic effort to admire. The body simply steps into what it already expects. Removing that movement would feel stranger than continuing it. Others will misunderstand this. They will call it rigidity. They will say you take things too seriously. Some will drift away when they realize exceptions no longer work on you. That distance is not a loss. It is a signal. When discipline becomes identity, you stop collecting evidence. You stop explaining yourself. You stop resetting after every disruption. The day arranges itself around a body that already knows where it's going. This is not something you try to maintain. It maintains you. The body moves. The mind quiets. And what once felt difficult becomes non-negotiable through repetition alone. Discipline is not something you do every day. It is something you become when the body leads long enough. Once that happens, there is no debate left to win. Comment your public commitment. One action. No explanation. No context.